Welcome, everybody.
Hey,
Is it Freda or Frida? Quite sure how to pronounce that. Welcome back, Kathy. Hi, Leah. Is it Leah or Leia? I have a girlfriend who's like Leia, like Princess Leia. Okay.
Leah.
Chico is here. Leah. Okay, great. Very good. Welcome. Hi, Matiku. Welcome. Okay. So I had a very interesting thing happen. There was a mentor that I had, and it was Melanie in there. I just found this card the other day when she sent me a 2022 Happy New Year gift, which she sends to those of us that are in her year-long mastermind. So I use it as a bookmark. I finally finished the book I was reading. So she has a community. It's got like 35,000 people in it. Pretty sure Alpha Farm's up to like 35,000. And someone posted and said, I need a really good reader of the Akashic Records. And then one of Melanie's staff says, look, this is not an area for self-promotion, so you can't talk about yourself, but you can promote other people. And if someone mentions your name, you can, talk in the DM. And I'm like, all right. So I start listing students of mine that are really good at reading the Akashic Records, because I've trained a lot of people over the years. And then all of a sudden someone puts my name down. And then I start getting all these ding, 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 dings. And like, I think it was about 11 people that had put my name down. And it was just this incredible experience, because the girl that I read last week, she put this, those messages that are like this long, you have to scroll to read. But it was really sweet. She said, Lynn does this thing and this is how she does it. And then I started getting all these friend requests, and a whole bunch of people had signed up. So if any of you came from Melanie's world, welcome. She's one of my favorite people. I found her in June of 2020. A girlfriend of mine called me out of the blue. We hadn't talked in a long time. And she's like, Spirit told me to reach out to you and to tell you about online coaching. And I'm like, what's online coaching? And she, it was right, the pandemic had started and people were doing online coaching. So that's when it all began for me. But back in I guess this goes all the way back to when I was 11 years old. So it was 1971. My mother had a best friend named Kathy Unger, and Kathy Unger was out there. Kathy Unger believed in all this stuff that I was fascinated by. She gave my mom a copy of a book about Edgar Cayce that was called The Sleeping Prophet. And it was by a man named Jess Stern, and Jess would talk about how Edgar Cayce would go into these trances and he would be completely unconscious, and he would be able to bring back messages from what were called the Akashic Records. And I leaned in and I was like, Akashic Records. It resonated with some part of my soul. But at the time, I think you had to go to India to get your Akashic Records read. Welcome, Beverly. So, it was kind of one of those things I'd put on the shelf of maybe sometime in my life I would get my Akashic Records read. But I became fascinated in all things metaphysical. I think at the time in the early 70s, there was Seth Speaks by Jane Roberts. There were Shirley MacLaine and her books like, Don't Fall Off the Mountain and this thing and that thing. And there was Eric Von Dayken and Chariot of the Gods. There just wasn't a lot that was out there on the kind of metaphysical past lives and all that kind of woo-woo, as they call it, stuff. So going along, in my life, I actually get trained to do past life work in 1989. I spent 4 months getting trained to do that kind of work. And then that became the focus of what I did. But there weren't a lot of people talking about it. So eventually I went into the world of banking and finance. But in 2017, I see a girlfriend of mine online. Her name is Tiffany. And Tiffany says on Facebook, I just got trained to read the Akashic Records and I need to practice on some people. I didn't go on Facebook. I called her on the phone. I'm like, Tiffany, please read me. I want to be read. She was like, okay, calm down. So she did an Akashic Record reading for me. And it was like I cried during the reading. It felt so real to me. It validated so many things that I believed about myself. And she said, there's a prayer that I'm going to read. Part of it is said aloud. Part of it is said silently. And she went ahead and read my Akashic records, and I'm like, oh my God, you've got to read this person, you got to read that person. I said, how did you learn to read the records? And she said, there's a woman named Linda Howe, and she wrote this book called How to Read the Akashic Records. See, I'm prepared this time. I have my books right here in the bookshelf. How to Read the Akashic Records by Linda Howe. Okay. The quintessential book on how to read the Akashic Records. So I start following Linda Howe. And later in 2017, she announces that she's going to do one of her final online trainings on how to read the Akashic Records. And 48 of us signed up. It was what I thought was ridiculously expensive at the time. It was like $850, but I didn't care. And like I've said, short of selling my cat for medical experiments, I was going to do this class, right? I was just so excited. So 48 of us around the world get on this platform that was called Learn It Live. It looks very much like Zoom. It's people in a little box and everybody can, text and talk to each other. And Linda's teaching us about the Akashic Records, and we read this book. And it literally changes my life. The very first time I opened the records, these beings showed up. So I'm psychic and I'm a medium and I'm a channel and I'm an oracle. So my clairs are open, which means that I can hear spirit, I can see spirit, I can feel spirit, I get downloads from spirit. I talk to them all the time. But I still have my secret identity of being a banker. So I go in and they start talking to me and they're jumping up and down and they're screaming, halls of Amenti, halls of Amenti, halls of Amenti. And I'm terrified because I don't know what the halls of Amenti are. And if the records were open, I close the records and I'm like, holy crap, what was that? So I go to my teacher, Linda Howe, and I'm like, okay, here's what happened when I went in the records. What was that? And she wrote back and she said, oh, well, they're just really excited to see you. Go back in, ask them to slow down, ask them what the halls of Amenti are. And in the meantime, I'm Googling halls of Amenti and it says, Thoth, the Atlantean, transferred the Akashic records from the halls of Amenti from Atlantis to Egypt before it sank. And I'm like, get out of here. Like, you can't make this shit up, right? I'm thrilled and excited out of my mind. So I go back in and this time I'm like, hello? I don't know what's going to happen next. Because when you can hear them and you can see them, Linda says there are 4 lords of the records and I see 7. So, I feel like I'm way outside of my zone at this point, but we practice so much. And she says, go on Facebook and ask to practice with about 25 people. So I traipse over to Facebook and I say, hey, I just got trained to read the Akashic Records. Would anyone like to practice? I think it's going to be like Tiffany. 72 people reach out and I practiced on all 72 because Jesus said to me, and he and I were chummy at that point. He said, you're going to be able to read everybody. There's not going to be anybody that's going to come forth that you're not going to be able to do a reading for. And I was like, okay. And he was right. So since then, I've read hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people. I've done thousands of hours of this work through training and development. I have trained well over 100 people to read the records because one of the things they told me is that I was a guardian of the records. And I was like, what does that mean? And they said, you were one of the beings that has been responsible for the protection and the sanctity of the Akashic records. I found out that my higher self's name is Sahaniel, that she is known as the one of the keepers of the records, and that my name is She Who Remembers. So I meet somebody and a person's Akashic records are basically open to me. Now, I'm not going to read your records unless I get permission from you, but there are things that the records tell me. There are things that I know. And it's been an extraordinary journey. So one of the things that I was asked to do was to come and have these little mini masterclasses. Priyanka, who works with me, has worked with me for about 4 years now. I put an ad up on, our anniversary is coming up. I put an ad up on Facebook in this community with like 400,000 people. And I said, I'm looking for a psychic virtual assistant because I want someone who understands me from the inside. And so of the 9 or 11 people who responded, Priyanka's name like jumped out at me. And so I reached out to her and I said, are you psychic? And she said, no. I said, then why did you answer the ad? She said, because I know people from the inside. And Jesus said, hire her. I was like, okay. And, we've been through all of it together. She is remarkably psychic. I said, are you psychic? She said, no. Jesus said, yes, she is. So she's actually going to be the one that chooses the person who reads today. She's been through my training classes. She's an extraordinary woman. In fact, it's so cute. Just today I was in your Instagram and I'm like, how does she know Dr. Elizabeth Lister? That's one of my best friends. I'm like, oh, she did her website. So Priyanka does a lot of different things. And someone comes to me and they're like, do you have a great virtual assistant? And I'm like, I have the best. She also does this and she also does that. So I love that you and Lizzie got to work together. I didn't even realize that. It was very fun. Elizabeth and I were roommates, God, back in the 80s when she was doing her work to become a doctor. Beverly, did you raise your hand, my love? Your hand is raised. I know you're taking a walk. You may not have raised it on purpose. Do you have a question?
No, ma'am, I'm taking a walk and I wanted to go ahead and get my hand raised to be in line to see if I can have a reading.
Okay.
It
So,
takes me a minute to figure out on my phone.
okay. So if you're here today and you would like a reading, please go ahead and raise your hand. How you raise your hand is there's a little smiley face with a plus sign. It says reaction. And if you click on that link, there's a little thing that lets you raise your hand. So if you would like to be in line for having your records read today, please go ahead and raise your hand. Let's see, what else can I tell you? When you ask questions of the records, you want to ask questions, not like the records are a crystal ball, because we all have free will, and free will is what allows us to make choices. So if you go into the records and you say, here's a going, people go, when am I going to meet my soulmate? And the records say, you are in 17 simultaneous incarnations with your soulmate. So there's that one, right? What they will answer are, why do I have a fear of this? Why am I obsessed with this? Why am I addicted to this? Why can't I quit smoking, drinking, eating, sexing, texting, shopping, like whatever your thing is? There's some part of your soul that is hung up on something from the quote unquote past. Actually, there is no such thing as time. We've been given time so that we can have an experience. We made the choice to come down to earth and have this earthly experience. It's very different than, the rest of the universe. But if you have come in and you have something that you just can't figure out, like, why do I keep dating the same men? Why do I keep having the same job? Why do I, continue at the tender age of 60 to still have the same feelings about my mother, my father, my sister, my brother, my aunt, my uncle, my grandmother, my grandfather, anything like that? Make sense? Let's see, what else can I tell you? The records are very loving. So because I am a channel, because I am a psychic and a medium, and because I've trained myself to the point where I am an unconscious channel, what happens when the records open for me is I am scooped out. They place me on the other end of a stadium. So if this is a big football stadium, you're down here talking to them, and I'm way, way, way back here, and there's no microphone. So there's stuff that goes on. I'm not privy to it. I don't have a remembrance of it. But it's interesting when people come and they'll say, do you remember when you said such and such? Sometimes it'll trigger a memory of something. And sometimes I'm like, I have no idea. Like, people will come to me and say, hey, thank you for reading my records. And I have absolutely no recollection of them. Like, honestly, we've read hundreds of people having done this for several years now. And people will say, thank you for reading my records. And I have no memory of them. It's a bit bizarre. It's kind of like waking up from anesthesia from a surgery and the time has passed and you're like, man, I have no memory. But it allows me to be of the highest service, because then you don't get Lynn's ego and my good goddamn ideas of what I think you should be doing with your life. None of that happens. Just in service to spirit. Let's see. Frank, am I forgetting anything? Oh, so yeah, one more thing. I teach people how to read the records. I also teach people how to remove darkness and how to remove energy and how to open up their clairs, clairvoyance, clairsentience, clairaudience, clairvoyance. I thought I was retiring myself from teaching, but I got a tap on the shoulder from spirit that said, you're not done yet. So I revamped the class that I do, and I'm actually starting another one on Tuesday. If anyone is interested in joining, the full price of the class is $3,333. But there's a weekend special that we have right now, and a special coupon where it's almost $1,000 less, and there's also a payment plan. So if that's anything that you're interested in and you want to come, there are actually 10 tools that I teach during that class. Priyanka just dropped the link. And you learn how to read the Akashic records. You also learn how to heal within the records. And that's an extraordinary experience. Thank you, my love. Yeah, so that drops it. It's called transformational alchemy. So an alchemist is one who turns lead into gold, and a transformational alchemist is one who's able to do that spiritually. You learn how to handle entities, those attachments that we get that have kind of been with us through many, many lifetimes. You learn how to speak to your guidance, your invisible counselors, as we call them sometimes, borrowing that from Napoleon Hill and the work that he did in Outwitting the Devil. You learn how to, I've had people come out of these classes and suddenly they're mediums and they can talk to the dead, they can talk to pets, all kinds of things happen. As you go in and you allow yourself to heal from the trauma that has kept you with your eyes closed and your ears closed and your head down through not only this incarnation, but other incarnations, all of a sudden, all these gifts, these psychic gifts that we were given by God, we were given to them by God so that we could traverse being a spiritual being shoved into this physical body. Anybody ever feel a little like, you're like, what's going on here? You like, you think that you are your body, and then you find out that you're not, you're so much more. Whether it was ayahuasca, mushrooms, deep meditation, prana, breathing, yoga, we're spiritual beings having a physical experience, but God was like, here, it's like giving us a little bag of crystals and says, come along for the ride. I think we just let somebody else in. I'm not sure. Okay. Priyanka, is there anything I'm forgetting?
No, you got it all covered. I just wanted to say Michelle joined in late. So, Michelle, if you would
Hi,
like
Michelle.
to have a reading, just click the raise hand button.
All right. And it looks like Elle is coming in as well. Yeah. So for Michelle and for Elle, I'm going to be doing an Akashic record reading for someone. It's going to be brief, probably 10-15 minutes. But if you are interested in having a reading, you can go ahead and click on the reactions and raise your hand for that. And then Priyanka the Magnificent is going to use her abilities. Spirits already decided, like, it's really interesting. This Spirits already scheduled this. Those of you that showed up, whoever's going to get a reading. Okay, Michelle put a heart up, which I think is like a hand. Michelle, is that you indicating that you'd be interested in having a reading? I love when people send me hearts. You can send me love all day long, man. I love that stuff. Okay. And for some reason, I'm supposed to tell you guys, okay. For some reason, so Michelle's throwing her hat in. For some reason, I'm supposed to tell you that I'm actually headed to New Jersey this afternoon. I am going to do a chronic healing class. So I was introduced to this gentleman a couple months ago. His name is Eduardo, some name I can't pronounce. Anyway, he's from Brazil. He now lives in the Pacific Northwest. And he does this pranic healing. And I was introduced to him by a dear girlfriend of mine, a soul sister. And she said, you got to have a healing with this guy. He's just extraordinary. And So I had a healing with him, and he's like, lie down, close your eyes, and I'm going to do some healing work on your chakras. And all I hear in the background is, psst, 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 psst. And I'm thinking to myself, what the fuck is happening? So I'm like, what are you doing? And he goes, I have this little spray bottle. And whenever I remove the negative energy from you, I spray the bottle, which has water and essential oils in it, to clear the energy. And I see this thing in his hand, and I go, what's that? And he goes, oh, this is the crystal that I use to clear the energy. So he's going like this, and then he dips the crystal in the salt water, and then he goes, psst, psst, psst. And I'm thinking, what the hell's going on? What's happening? But as I'm lying there with my eyes closed, I'm like, oh, I go, my belly's tingling. And he goes, I'm working on your sacral chakra. And I'm like, okay. And then I go, oh, I can feel something across my ribs. And he goes, I'm working on your solar plexus. These are my eyes closed. He goes, I'm like, oh, I'm feeling this tingling on my neck because I'm working on your throat chakra. So I'm like, all right, I'm in, because I can feel whatever it is that he's doing. And all I know is that when I came out of it, I was like clear, feeling like my chakras were open. Jesus is saying, do more work with this guy. So I think I've purchased, I don't know, probably 15 sessions with him, and I've given away about 7 of them, because I'm like, mom, my sister, my brother, my aunt, my best friend, one of my favorite people, like I'm just giving them sessions because I'm like, this guy is amazing. So my girlfriend Deborah calls me one day and she says, and I don't know why I'm telling you this, somebody's supposed to hear this information. There's a training in New Jersey that I'm going to go attend. So Deborah goes, hey, Eduardo is doing a training today. You want to go see? And I'm like, okay, I've never seen him do what he does. And I'm watching him do this, and I'm like, oh my God, I have to do this, because what he's doing. And so the first time I have a session with him, this man named Master Choa shows up. And Master Choa starts speaking to me in Chinese, and so I speak Chinese. How crazy and random, right? And he says, Washer Cho Shan Shan. And he's like, I am Master Chow. And I'm like, Ni hao ma. And he's like, Hun hao. And he's talking to me, and I'm like, oh, like I haven't used Chinese since I was in high school. And that was a long time ago. And I'm like, I understand this guy. And I'm like, this guy's talking to me, and he just introduced himself to me, and he says he's Master Cho. And Eduardo's like, what? He goes, that's the Grand Master. I have goosebumps. Master Cho just showed up. He goes, that's Master Choa. He died back in 2017. He's the one who brought this technology forth. And I said, well, they're telling me it's Atlantean crystal technology. And he goes, yeah, but we don't ever talk about that. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm so excited. So I'm going to do that training this weekend. I don't know why I was supposed to tell you guys. Master Cho is here with us now. I'm so excited. So I guess I just want you to know, like, I continue to do my training. I have 32 certificates. A few of them are on the wall. I'm a Reiki master in 3 different disciplines. I'm a yoga teacher in a couple disciplines. I'm a this, that, and the other. But I'm always growing and developing. And, like the Akashic records are just the beginning. So for any of you who have a desire or a dream, like I do healing work with people. And in it, they say, I was reading Master Choa's book, and he says, everything is made of energy. It's the same thing I teach. And when it gets stuck inside of us, it causes illnesses. So the Akashic records will take you right to where you have stuff that you need to still clear. And that's what this journey is going to be. Okay. All right. I think that's it. Did I forget anything? I don't think so. I think that's it. All right. All right. So Priyanka, who is going to be read? And by the way, if you're volunteering to be read, you're volunteering to come on camera, and you're volunteering to have this be public, because this goes on my YouTube channel. It goes on my Facebook channel. So just know that this is going to be a public conversation. We're not going to reveal any of the bad shit you've done, at least not in this session. So you're safe. Actually, I can't speak for them. I don't know what they're going to reveal. So you take fate into your own hands. But all right, Priyanka, who is our lucky guest today, my love?
It's Beverly.
Beverly. All right, sweet girl. Well, thank God you're inside. Are you somewhere where you can sit down? And look, if you're not being read today, I invite you to come back. We will read you another day. I promise you that. Looks like Beverly's getting somewhere where she's going to be able to sit down.
Yes, I am now seated.
A little dizzy from watching you. Okay. All right, good. Here we go. Okay, so hold on. I need your full legal name. Because the records know you by your full name. And it's not the name you were born with. It was the name that you are now. So if you've been married or divorced or changed your name or whatever.
Nope,
It's
none
how-
of those.
Okay, all right. So what is your full legal name, my love?
Beverly Fay, Fay, Kofer. C is in Charlie, O, F is in Frank, ER.
Okay, beautiful. Beverly Faye Cover. So I'm going to, whew, just suddenly got really warm. I'm gonna go into trance. Oof. Boy, I got a whole room full of guidance today. I'm gonna go into trance. I'm gonna bring your master's teachers and loved ones forth. The master's teachers and loved ones are the ones who guide us through our journey through the Akashic records. So they're gonna come forth and have a conversation with you. You can ask them questions about your life. You can ask them questions about your relationship with someone else, but you cannot ask about someone else's Akashic records. So it can't be, why did my mother do this to her children? Why did my mother do this to me? The better, more effective question that the records will answer is, why did I choose to have my mother do this? Why did I contract to have that thing happen? Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. All right, good. Okie dokie. Here they come. Can feel them moving in. They broken out in sweat. This is an intense one. Okay, here we go. All right, see you all in a bit. I yawn as I move through the transition. I'm about to say the prayer. Some of it gets said aloud. Some of it is silent. They will announce the records are now open, and then you can begin your dialogue with them. All right, so here we go. And so we do acknowledge the forces of light, asking for guidance, direction, and courage to know the truth as it is revealed for our highest good and the highest good of everyone connected to us. O Holy Spirit of light, help me to know Beverly in the light of the Akashic records. To see Beverly through the eyes of the Lords of the records, and enable me to share the wisdom and compassion that the masters, teachers, and loved ones of Beverly have for her. The records are now open. Welcome, beloved one. We come to you, bringing you forth at our request, where there is a conversation that is meant for us to have with you. We thank you for your diligence in finding your way to us. So come forth, beloved one, and allow us to begin to conversate with you. Beloved, you find yourself at times challenged within your heart. You find yourself at times feeling as if you are fraught with difficulties, but we would like you to understand that there is a different perspective that you may take on everything that you look at within the dynamics of your life. You can choose joy in all moments. You can choose happiness in all moments. You can choose to be as colorful as you wish to be without the worries and cares and concerns of what another thinks of you. You were raised in a delicate way that you must be worried about thinking of others. Beloved, the most important thinking for you to be concerned with is your own, to be able to look upon your own visage and say, ah, I love who it is that I see. I love who it is that I am. I love how it is that I conduct my life and my existence, for you are precious beyond measure. And there are times when you forget this, do you not?
Yes, that is correct.
It is time for that line of thinking, beloved, to be laid to rest, shall we say. So come to us, precious one, and tell us what it is that you wish to know, that you wish to remember, that you wish to discuss.
I want to know if back during my lives, and how many lives, if there were choices that I made that would have put me in the situation that I'm in today.
Beloved one, you have had some 743 incarnations that have brought you to the situation, the condition that you currently occupy. Understand that you stand here today with tethers, strings, ropes, or cords that go out to a multitude of incarnations that have landed you where you are. And you have had thinking, we would like to call some stinking thinking, if you will, that has bent you and folded you and caused you to feel less than beloved, less than joyful. Have you not? Beloved one, we are asking you here today, in this moment, to begin to think differently. It all comes down to how you have allowed yourself to perceive your life, the sorrow, the grief, and the pain that you live with can be chosen to be perceived differently. Are you willing to look at things in a different light?
Yes.
There was difficulty with your father in your early childhood, was there not?
Yes.
Rather than looking upon this situation as difficulty, what if you could look upon it as a way to inspire you to think differently, to act differently, to feel differently? What if you could allow the lessons of forgiveness to put you in a position of saying, I have the strength of will within me to forgive every single situation that has occurred to me. Understand the two of you have had different relationship dynamics through different incarnations. If you were married to him in one incarnation, and then you end up being a child to him in another incarnation, there's an aspect of the soul that becomes confused. Do you understand, beloved one?
Yes.
There are feelings, there are actions, there are things that occur that do not seem to make sense given a current lifetime situation. But if you can allow yourself to go within and say, there must be a reason and a purpose for all that has ever occurred to me, ever occurred within me, that I have ever thought, that I have ever felt, you will allow yourself the grace And grace is what must be applied here, beloved one. The grace to be able to say, this was not done with malice. This was not done to harm. I did not understand, but yet there is a place where my soul has called this forth. And you would see from another aperture, you would see from an ascended point of view that it has all woven together for you to be where you are here and now. The greatest grace that you will be able to afford yourself, beloved one, is for you to practice deeply within the art of forgiveness, to no longer continue to see yourself as a victim to any circumstance, but rather to say, I have drawn and attracted this to me, for there is a lesson to be learned so that I may rise victoriously. And beloved, you also have a tendency to be somewhat absorbed in the pain. Bringing your attention to being of service to others will be of the greatest service to you. For beloved, when you surmount this relationship dynamic and the impact and the effect that it has had upon you, when you will be able to say, I need shed no more tears, you can then reach out to others with similar circumstances and be able to say, I have overcome this. I have found a way to be in alignment with my highest good. I am living the best version of myself that is possible. You have a tendency to stay mired in the past, beloved one. We are asking you to wake up to a new day and to decide what it is that you want. If you, beloved Beverly, will make a commitment to be the best version of yourself, what would she desire? Where would she want to go? How would she want to live? You must learn to let go of the past. It is no longer about driving with your hands on the rearview mirror, beloved. Move your hand to the steering wheel of your existence and allow yourself to take off. Do you understand what we are saying to you? Now, the great question for you, beloved one, is, are you willing to live in accordance and in alignment with your highest self?
Yes. My challenge is every time I think that I'm making progress because I feel like I'm here to help others,
You are.
I hit a stumbling block. And it's like I get thrown back to square one.
Hmm.
And I don't know how to get over that point. And that's what I truly want, is to be able to get over that, because I know I'm strong and I'm a survivor because of everything I've been through.
Indeed.
Because I'm 63 years old. And my entire life, I had survived many things.
Beloved,
But I don't know how to get over that one hurdle.
that one hurdle for you, beloved one, is a place where you allow yourself to fall. Beloved, you walk down the street, there is a hole. The first time you walk down the street, you fall into the hole. You climb out. The next time you walk down the street, you walk around the hole. The third time you walk down a different street. What you consider to be this stumbling block is something that you pull in from the past and you put in front of you. Do you understand?
Yes.
Go in a different direction, walk down a different path. There is also a modicum of faith that is missing for you. You have a belief that every single time, as you just languaged it, you will stumble and fall. What if you were willing to let go of that place where that belief lived inside of you? And instead you say, I call upon the mercy of the heavenly source to help me walk down a different path. And you have faith that the next path you walk down, you will not come across this stumbling block, and you will disconnect it from you energetically. I am willing to release all the ways in which I have stumbled in the past. I am willing to find a new way to walk, for that is available for you, beloved one. Are you willing to have faith in this?
Yes, I am.
Then it is done. The order has been placed with the universe, and the universe will abide. Congratulations, beloved. We are very excited to hear the results of your journey. We will be watching closely. Beloved, we ask you to call upon us. Know that your guidance is but a breath away, is but a thought away. We are with you always. We love you. We thank you for coming forth and being with us. Know that we are always with you.
Thank you so much.
Indeed. This transmission is complete. Whew. I wish I had one of those beautiful fans, you know? Okay, hold on a second. I would like to thank the masters, teachers, and loved ones for their love and compassion. I would like to thank the Lords, the Akashic records for their point of view. I would like to thank the Holy Spirit of light for all knowledge and healing. The records are now closed. Amen. Records are now closed. Amen. The records are now closed. Amen. How was that?
Amazing.
Bravo. Bravo. Your energy seems much lighter. Beautiful. All right. Well, thank you all for being here. If you didn't get a chance to get read, please come back. I love to do this. It is truly a delight. Priyanka, I love you. Beverly, congratulations.
Thank you.
Some really good things are happening for you. There were some energy shifts that happened. That was really yummy. Okay, my darlings. You're welcome. Thank you all so much for being here. And if you have any interest in getting trained, please come join us for the class. It's going to be spectacular. And if you want to do some deep work, we do that work as well. We do one-on-one work with people. We do mentoring work with people, which is where we teach you, and we do the healing work. I'm about to go learn another technique that I'm really excited about. And, you know, all goodness and love to you all. Bye, my darlings.
Blessings.
Blessings.